Welcome to the solo Final Fantasy XIV challenge. This is solo only, and from the very beginning, we have clawed our way past some of the most difficult fights this game can offer, all while never using the market board, parties, or NPC support, and using level sync or silence echo whenever it's possible. Again and again, I've been told this was impossible, but no matter how hard it got, we've always prevailed. And now, standing on the other side of the impossible trial, Susano, it's time to move forward towards our final goal, Endwalker. Maybe something stops us before then, brings this whole thing crashing down, but until we see that with our own hands, we continue down this long, winding road to whatever impossible wall comes next. A new hand touches the beacon. Paladin is geared up and has proven its mettle, forcing us through what warrior could not. Castamabanya is cleared and the path is opened, leading us towards the end of 4.0. By the end of this video, Zenos and Shinryu shall fall. And the first of them would be in a way I never could have expected. Though before that, we have our weekly Wondrous Tales to do. I have been informed that, and I quote, "If I have to hear Wrath explain Wondrous Tales one more time, I'm going to throw my monitor out the window." So, I'll just give you the shorthand this time. Since the very beginning, there's only one thing we cared about. I needed a book that gives me 2 lines. 2 lines gets me a silver certificate, and with 2 of those, we can purchase a level 100 ornate chest piece. This entire video is before 7.2, which has some absolutely massive updates to this content for us, but I'll tell you about those when we actually get there. For now, we still need to treat second chance points like the most valuable thing in the known universe and hope for lucky trial options. Also, these do have some spoiler images in them, so I'll be blurring the bottom row of the book anytime it's visible. What am I looking at? Do you see this? Am I crazy? That's just Solo. I'm sorry. No, wait, the recording crew is here. Sorry, hey, it's the camera crew. They're getting in the way. Hey, you can't look at this. You are actually just a cooler Solo. What the heck? They'll never be able to kill me. I am undefeatable. I am Solo only. Have you seen my videos? I have like 2 of them at least. What? What just happened? Okay, you know what? I can see why we asked chat, does he know? Maybe we're gonna... I think an ARR boss that does 130,000 damage is not something I want to deal with tonight, so maybe we just do something else. Currently, we have a 15% chance. We go from a 15% to... Guess the 33% chance. This is it. This is the one. I need to go get one more second chance point. Maybe I just spend it now. Just spend it now. Just spend it now. Why would I not? Goodbye, Sophia. Right here and now. This could be my 2 lines. Good luck. Yes! Yes! I'm free! Oh my god, no way! We did it, chat! I can't believe it! We have finally defeated Chloe Ultimate! That's the final silver right there, baby! Oh my god, yes! Now I just have to finish this real quick. Oh, I haven't done Sunken Temple of Corn? Oh, we gotta do the Temple of Corn for our final. I never have to care about Wondrous Tales ever again. 4 months and 9 days since we beat Susano and forced ourselves into the most painful Wondrous Tales grind possible. With books full of trials I didn't even have unlocked, somehow we made it. Done, finished. This was very close to being a 3-line. Chloe's silver commendation. I can't believe it. It's finally over. If I had but to want, I could scroll on over here and get whatever. This one's for level 90. I could get whatever level 90 piece I want twice, and in just one update, level 100 gear just for me. Gold certificates will always get you current gear, so whatever the strongest crafted gear is for that update, and silvers get you the previous best gear. So soon, when 7.2 releases, the level 100 ornate Archeo Kingdom Cuirass of Vending would be available for silver certificates. Also, it showed as 1 silver certificate per before, but that's only because it's gear from last expansion. As soon as it fills in with a level 100 chest piece, it will double in price. I'll be saving this until the absolute end of need. The longer we hold it, the stronger it it will be, but who knows when Final Fantasy XIV will force our hand. Every Wondrous Tales from here is bonus, used for leveling or tomestones. Never again will I have to throw things out to save on second chance points. You're every bit the warriors you claim to be. Yeah, that's kind of my whole class. MSQ done, the last quest of 4.0 appears, Stormblood, and Alamigo is unlocked. Level synced, we take our first steps towards a glorious battle with my dearest of friends. Again, we are faced with the horrors of Magitech, a dungeon of enemies that could, at any moment, throw out gravity damage and shred through my health like it's nothing. But I'm a warrior, and without that set damage number, nothing poses much of a threat. We are safe, healthy, and happily strolling towards the first boss, the Magitech Scorpion. Electromagnetic field deals damage to everything in the arena. Target search chases its target down with a slow-moving AoE marker, eventually stopping and bombarding the area with missiles, leaving a circle of flames in its wake. And Tail Laser continuously hits a large area in front and behind the boss. The next time it uses Tail Laser, it will do it twice in a row, spinning to a new direction for the last hit and using another target search. And that is the entire boss fight. Also, goodbye Magitech Scorpion. Easiest boss I've ever seen. Okay. Next come the Magitech Avengers, heavy-hitting physical ads scattered along the path to the second boss. If it wasn't for Warrior's incredible healing and defense, these would be viable to kill us in 1 or 2 hits, even going so far as to have their own tank busters. But given our tank privilege, there's nothing that can stop us from reaching the second boss, Aulus Malasana. Aulus derives his strength from the Magitech he commands, filling the arena with varying formations of AoE attacks. Order to charge sends out the Magitech, and order to fire starts their barrage. At 60%, Aulus starts casting Magitech Disruptor.
I shall have to share these findings. Initiate soul extraction.
With a brief stun, our souls are torn from our corporeal bodies and forced to the edge of the arena. Inching along ever so slowly, yet more Magitech appear, barraging us with lasers once more. Reaching our bodies, we become whole again, and the fight continues into Phase 2. The Magitech formations become a bit more complex, adding in a targeted AoE, demi-magics, but it's nowhere near enough to pose a threat, and Aulus Malasana falls. 2 out of 3 bosses first tried. Free to head on towards the final boss, we're faced with a new type of blockade. The way is blocked by a Magitech laser field. After clearing out the normal enemies, the shields must be broken before progressing. But that's not the end of it. While you fight and while breaking the shields, 3 mages attack you from the steps above. Untargetable mages dealing constant damage. This poses enough of a threat that I have to actually use my mitigations, though in the end we make it through without issue. 1 more laser field to break. This one doesn't come with any attackers, but it's followed up by 2 mini-bosses, the 12th Legion Colossi. As they fall, without a single death, we've reached the final boss, Xenos Ye Galvus. Say whatever you want about my dear husband, but this is a fight I've been looking forward to for a long time. The lore-accurate battle of my dreams. As the fight starts, an arena is formed. Stepping outside the circle will cause you to constantly lose health and reduces the damage you deal. Art of the Storm slashes in a circle around him, charged with a high voltage to paralyze anyone hit. Art of the Swell cuts the very air, propelling all his enemies away, and Art of the Sword tears through the very ether in front of him, dealing damage to and around Xenos' target. Between his arts, Xenos will shout, "Kill!" signaling the start of his tank buster, Unmoving Troika. 3 back-to-back hits. At 65%, we enter Phase 2. 4 clones spawn in the arena as Xenos casts Vein Splitter, a large circle AoE. As the first hit resolves, each clone follows up with their own Vein Splitter. Jumping to a target, Xenos tethers to them, and after a brief pause, shoots a massive cone AoE, Lightless Spark. And Concentravity, an undodgeable burst of magic, is added in between all of this. The longer the fight goes on, the more attacks the clones copy, taking away every last inch of safety. Then, at 20%, we reach the third and final phase. Xenos enters a meditative state, and his 3 blades protect him. While they live, the clones appear beside 2 of them, using their sword arts against you. We're faced with a DPS check. All 3 swords need to be broken before Xenos' Aether Transfer reaches 100, or...
Have you the strength? Transcend.
We fall to the transcendental power of Storm Swell Sword. It was close, incredibly so, getting the final sword to 30%, but with 40 seconds left before we're kicked out of the instance, we had failed. And 30% isn't something that we can fix so easily. Warrior was too weak to handle this on level sync. Without access to stronger gear, locked away behind this very quest, we had hit a dead end. But that's not to say it couldn't be done on level sync. 2 of the other solos suggested something to me. An idea so ridiculous, so insane, that it might just work. Hidden away, buried beneath the hundreds of hours of soloing, there was another player waiting for his moment. The old me, the place where this all started. I've played over 500 hours of solo, ripping and tearing my way through each challenge, hanging on by naught but grit and determination with any class that would fit. And in that time, I had been betrothed to tanks. But this was nothing more than a drop in a bucket. For the hundreds of hours of tanking, I had another character with 2,000 hours, nearly all of which was on one singular class, and I had finally gotten my chance to use it. No warrior, nor gunbreaker, or any other would face down Xenos alone. No, I had dreamt of this moment, this glorious rite, far before solo was ever a part of my life. Xenos would fall to a red mage. But first, we had to unlock it. The weapon provided is a crafted item, and we're in Red Mage's original expansion, so though the crystal sat in my pocket, I needed to craft a blade to use alongside it. Cobalt ore, mithrite sand, mithril ore, and iron ore make a cobalt ingot and mithril nuggets. Throw this out real quick, that's pretty useless. For a high quality mithrite rapier. With all of my buttons set up as well as I can remember them, the grind begins. To take down Xenos, we'd need to reach heights well beyond where we currently stood, from level 50 all the way to 70. And there's only one place we can do that. We're now level 58, I can use Embolden for realsies. I'm gonna have to do 3 more palace runs. 50 to 60 quests should be around 500k-ish, I think. Oh, yeah, you know what? I forgot that I have 50 to 60 quests. Oh, we're done palace. That's gonna be great. Just get me the heck out of here. There's no reason to be here. I could go do this with challenge logs now. Goodbye, Palace of the Dead. I can't talk about the things that I want to do. Not because I'm that worried that somebody else is going to steal them from me. Whatever, I'm still gonna do it. If I talk about doing them, I am much less likely to actually do it because I'm giving my brain the dopamine of having already completed the task. Yeah, I did instinctively go to start another palace run, okay? Don't worry about it. I'm going to describe to you a Square Enix game, and you have to guess what the Square Enix game is. I'm going to describe it to you in the worst possible way. A mute angel falls from the sky, fights some goopy creatures, and kills God's replacement. Which Square Enix game is this? How did you get it that quick? You got it that fast. That Ethernet PCIe adapter, excuse me, I have removed it. It is no longer in my computer. Now I have a Wi-Fi PCIe adapter, and that is how I intend to fix my internet problem. Because you see, you're gonna tell me I'm crazy for swapping from Ethernet to Wi-Fi to fix my internet issues? Here's the deal. I had an internet ghost in my house for like a month and a half. The ghost in my house quite literally never had any problems when they were streaming on Wi-Fi, but they did have problems when they were streaming on Ethernet. My motherboard does have an Ethernet, but my motherboard got struck by lightning, and then the Ethernet port did not work from then on. I don't have terrible luck. Come on. I mean, okay, maybe a little bit, but come on. I think it's a pretty good photo. Okay, that's a problem. Yeah, all right, yeah. Is the maid outfit glammed on, or is it properly on solo? Oh my god, you're right. I forgot to take it back off. It is properly on. Is there a good red mage guide? It looks fun. I am the red mage guide. What do you need? Class is very simple. Hit the enemy, kill. Truly do have streamer luck, incredible luck, but instead of being skewed towards what outcome is most beneficial, it's skewed towards whatever is funniest. Don't say that to me. I hate that you're right. Why does it have to? No, we can't accept this. I can't let this continue. It said accuracy down, but it did not actually give me the accuracy down debuff, so I'm starting to think maybe my accuracy has not been reduced. 1 level to go. We swap over for a quick Wondrous Tales run to save a bit of my sanity. It was a 235,000 health crit. That thing had a stupid amount of HP for a level 50 monster. I guess I'll take the poetics. I know I can't get all of them, but I'll take it. There we go, level 70 red mage. Beautiful. Thankfully, I already have the gear we were testing for Pictomancer on Susano, so we've got everything except a weapon. Lost Allegan foil. fastest gearing we've ever done, and the last Red Mage quest completed, it's finally time for our rematch. Now that that's complete, we continue our roller coaster of a day by heading on and giving an attempt to Alamigo, the first ever attempt at level syncing a dungeon on a DPS that I actually believe could possibly happen. So here we go. I remember nothing. Returning to Alamigo, we need to relearn the entire dungeon from scratch. No, that one's a rough one. Fine. Okay, I need to burst those down and kill them one at a time. Warrior has an easy time with the enemies between bosses, but for a caster, every single red health bar might as well be a boss. It has been 8 months since we last faced anything like this, and even then I was a healer on Silent Echo. So you get to sit through the lecture again. Classes in Final Fantasy XIV have varying amounts of defense on their armor. Tanks, as you might expect, have the highest defense and have equal magic and physical defense. For every type of attack, you can make an assumption on what damage type it will be. Imagine a raid-wide. Undodgeable attacks that everyone is hit by. Those are almost always magical damage. Then imagine a tank buster, be it the instant big hits or the charged up red circles. A majority of these are physical damage. Most auto attacks from enemies are also physical, with the exception being things like ice sprites. So running through groups of non-magical Garlean soldiers, we're stuck with a lot of physical damage. And unlike tanks, casters have an unbalanced defensive split. Caster armor sets trade a big boost of magic defense to more easily handle those undodgeable raid-wide attacks for an absurdly low physical defense. Those big groups that I could kill all at once on Warrior were an entirely different beast now. The only real way for us to survive this was to focus down one enemy at a time, killing it as quickly as possible and moving on to the next. But Final Fantasy XIV doesn't really let you pull one enemy at a time. Most groups will have these small yellow lines jumping between them, meaning they're legioned. If you attack or get spotted by a legioned enemy, everything it's attached to will start fighting as well. Though, Red Mage does have one way out of this. Every caster does. That ability you threw off your bar and never paid attention to again, sleep. An AoE around your target that puts everything in the circle to sleep for 30 seconds. If they're attacked, they wake up, but with this, I could kill them one by one. To make it even better, you can reapply sleep to enemies, though it gets weaker every time, like any detrimental effect, going from 30 seconds to 15, then 7, and so on until they can't be slept anymore. But with this, and Red Mage's movement abilities to get distance, we could whittle down the enemy forces and finally see our first steps of progress. One thing I hadn't expected, enemies would still receive a weakened sleep effect even after ending combat and resetting. Fully resisted? Oh, it retains its resistance to it. So if I died, we'd only get 15 seconds or less the next time I started the fight. Or I could wait around for something like a minute for it to go back to normal. Even fighting them one at a time, this wasn't going to be easy. But after 4 deaths, the first group of enemies is down. Oh, and before I forget, Alamigo syncs you to level 70. I am level 70, so you won't see the normal level sync icon next to my class, but this is a level synced dungeon. Abusing enemy patterns. The further away I can be, the better. Because I want to delay it out until it has to use its cast. And then by the time it gets into range, it just casts at me. And we just kill from here. Okay, nice. Very nice and comfy. Using all of my movement to avoid auto attacks and get extra time for solo fights. After 18 minutes of fighting tooth and nail for every inch, we've reached the Magitech Scorpion, and are shown an example of just how much harder this will be. An AoE that I barely cared to mention earlier now did 1/3 of my health. The only reason Red Mage has a chance is because of its unique trait, Dual Cast and Vercure. Vercure is exactly how it sounds, healing my target for 2500 health. But it becomes a lot more than that with Dual Cast. Dual Cast makes it so after I cast a spell, my next spell is instant, giving me time to dodge around and 2 heals stacked together every time I use one. At 4500 damage, the boss could do almost half my health in one hit, but at 2500 per heal, I can recover more than half my health just as quickly. The only problem now would be mana. Vercure was powerful sustain, but at 500 mana per cast, it very quickly drains us of our main resource. While the Scorpion chases me down between attacks, we're forced on the defensive, spending most of the time I have to heal. But as soon as it stops for Tail Laser, we're given the chance to strike. During their cast times, bosses won't auto-attack, making this an entire phase where I take no damage and can focus on using all of the strongest attacks I have. This also gives the chance to recover my mana, solving our main problem. With no real threat or fear from a tank buster, the Magitech Scorpion falls. Okay, whew. And we head on towards another despair. Those Avengers I told you about before? Yeah, this was the reason. It's also a good time to mention that being attacked while you're casting has a chance to interrupt it, unless you use Surecast. So, with Browbeat dealing 5,500 damage and my Vercures being interrupted, this singular enemy took more tries than the first boss. Come on, man, are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. Oh, and if it really feels like it, it can just hit me while it's asleep. No way, dude! How is it doing that? You've gotta be joking! And there's another one right after. Out in the sunlight, surrounded by 12th Legion Canis, the nearby cannons barrage us, but running back under the cover of the nearby roof stops the AoEs. The ultimate Garlean weapon! 40 billion dogs! I need help. There are 30 to 50 feral dogs inside my Alamigo. One dance with a rearguard later, 20 minutes since beating the Magitech Scorpion, we are back at the second boss. And unlike the Scorpion, Aulus is much worse. The only saving grace is cast times. Order to charge and order to fire stop him from moving, so if I can keep a constant spacing from him, we get just enough time to heal back up to full. Then, while his Magitechs are performing their attack, he'll stay in one spot. Though, if I get too close, he'll start auto-attacking me. Between his casts, he's strong enough that I can do nothing but heal. And the soul extraction phase is the perfect chance to recover my mana. Okay, nice. Very nice. We keep going. 38 minutes left before we're kicked out of the dungeon, we reach the Magitech laser fields. The regular enemies can be put to sleep just like normal, but those mages on the upper step are untouchable. Those suck. They can still hit me from there? Oh my god, alright, that's an immediate death. At the far end of Aulus's arena, the mages can't reach us, though the laser fields require us to sit right in their vision. Eventually, the laser field falls, and the mages run off. A hexadrone blocks our path and gives us flashbacks to a realm reborn. As the hexadrone attempts to cast its missile, stepping slightly behind the wall makes it unable to see me, so while it should be dealing heavy magic damage, it instead has to stop and walk around the corner to find me again, dropping the attack entirely. The Legion Colossi mostly use dodgeable attacks, so they go down nice and easy, and with just 26 minutes to spare, we've made it to the end. Now I just need to learn boss. I don't know what differences are, but we shall see. Interrupting my casts, dealing constant heavy damage, every last percent we took off Xenos was a war. Hiding was our best method. Staying as far from him as possible and never stopping for too long would save us from 1 or 2 auto attacks if we were lucky. And it also showed us something I hadn't seen the first time. Unmoving Troika is exactly as its name implies. The first hit was aimed at us, but the remaining 2 would always hit the same spot. We can dodge 2/3 of his tank buster, which is particularly lucky, seeing as it does 1/3 of my health per hit. Dropping to 100 health, the only way to guarantee I get my heals off is Surecast. Every 2 minutes, it gives me 6 seconds where I can't be interrupted. The start of the fight is the hardest. Once we break through to phase 2 and Xenos starts using Vein Splitter with his clones, we're given much more time to heal and deal damage. Time was running out, partially to my own negligence, and for the strength of Xenos' strikes, my mana was constantly edging down towards 0. With only enough left to heal 3 more times. Phase, please. Phase, please. Thank you. We break through to the DPS check. A moment's respite to catch our breath. First, the Ame no Habakiri, then the swell, and finally, the storm fall. That's it. Okay. Very nice. Come on, Xenos. We've now entered the final phase, and are proven wrong on that earlier statement of difficulty. Xenos continuously stops between auto attacks to cast Concentravity, each hit dealing 4,500 damage. Every 7 seconds, we'd lose 1/3 of our health. I had to heal non-stop. This put both other sections of the fight to shame. At the current rate, I'd barely last 2 minutes before running out of mana. Then, making the mistake of getting too close, we're reminded of where we stand, taking 2 back-to-back critical auto attacks. Oh my god. That kills me. I'm dead. No way! He double crit me, man! No way! You have to be joking! That genuinely just did 10,000 damage in auto attacks. Oh my god. Okay, I don't think I have time now. It took 13 minutes to deal 85% of his health, with only 10 minutes left on the dungeon's timer before we get kicked out. This was the end. We wouldn't even get another chance. Okay, I mean, at the very least, I'm very, very happy with that fight. I'm very, very happy to be on Red Mage. Okay, yeah, that's a dead instance. I can't do this in 9 minutes. It sucks. A quick stop to rest after 9 hours of work. We cook up some shakshuka, and there's one more thing we're missing. To supplement my healing magics, we've been using super potions. Before this, I could only get super potions from clearing floors in Heaven on High, but now we can make them ourselves. Kudzu root, alyssum, crescent spring water, and cudweed make some high quality super potions. And so, we return to Alamigo one more time. Okay. 600 mana left. That was just barely. Okay. Alrighty. That is an 80-minute swift completion. But I'm not done yet. How dare you? Why is his butt gigantic? Do you want the actual reason, or would you like the reason that I believe? My man's got cake is the reason that I believe. The actual reason is that armor set. So that armor is actually just propped up around that area for extra protection. Immediately following Alamigo, the real final instance of 4.0.
We tower above the gods. You by your gift, I by my might.
The Royal Menagerie is unlocked. I've gotten my glorious battle on Red Mage. Now we return to tanks, starting with Warrior on level sync. The first of its kind, Shinryu hits us with 2 auto attacks, one from each wing. In a normal party, each of these would target a different tank, but we're not so lucky. The first cast, Tidal Wave, is a knockback from either side or the back of the arena, leaving scattered puddles of water in its wake. The right wing targets us with Levin Bolt, a weak lightning aspected AoE as Shinryu begins Akmorn. 3 back-to-back party stacks. Barely surviving with Holmgang, the left wing shoots out icicles from the back of the arena as we fall to the overwhelming auto attacks. Oof, okay. Wow. Man, that is slaughter. Wow, the double crit, dude, really? Oh my god. The damage was too much. Shinryu was a monstrous foe that Warrior stood no chance against. Paladin, on the other hand, might be able to push us just a bit further. This time around, the right wing uses Hypernova, a party stack dealing 13,000 damage. Paladin's biggest leg up on Warrior is Hollowed Ground. Rather than hanging on at 1 HP with Holmgang, Hollowed reduces all damage we would take to 0, allowing us to skip Akmorn. Getting hit by one of the icicles from earlier will knock you forward and give a vulnerability up, reducing my my defenses. Ice Storm is an undodgeable ice-aspected attack, and Earth Blast shoots a Conal AoE at Shinryu's target. Then, at 100% concentrated Aether, Shinryu uses one of two abilities. The first we get to see is Hellfire, and this is why I mentioned the elemental aspect of each attack earlier. Standing in the puddles that Tidal Wave spawns gives you resistance to fire and weakness to lightning, reducing Hellfire to just 1700 damage. Phase 1 ends, and Shinryu flies off to start charging his Enrage. Cocoons crash down around the arena. The closer you are to the impact site, the more damage you take. Once landed, they awaken as enemies, primed to tear you to pieces. As the Enrage progresses, a total of 3 waves spawn, pushing us to the limit until my mana eventually runs out, and the fight ends. No way, man. How? What the heck? An insurmountable wall stood before us, but on that attempt, the cracks started to appear. Oh my god, I have Echo Buff. That was long enough for Echo Buff? We could survive the 3 minutes needed to earn a 10% Echo Buff, and it would only get easier from there. After an hour of attempts, what seemed like a lost cause just a few moments ago was now very much possible. Alamigo had fallen, and Shinryu was next. I just needed to push what little gearing options I had a bit further. Last time on Dragon Ball Z. But before we talk about that, you have to understand item levels. Each weapon or armor piece you have in Final Fantasy XIV has an item level attached to it. Right now, I'm using the armor we got with Centurio seals from hunting rare monsters at eye level 340. This is the simplest example of the gear's power. The higher the eye level, generally, the stronger the gear. With every expansion, the max level crafted gear starts at its lowest item level on release. Then they start putting out the post patches with progressively stronger crafted items. But that still means nothing without numbers. Nightsteel armor, the second level 70 crafted gear added in Stormblood's post patches, is eye level 350. Rakshasa, the final crafted gear added, is 380. Between all of the total stats, the Rakshasa gear is around 7.3% stronger, in theory. We'll talk about the specific stats we care about another time. Right now, my current gear, if we can craft Rakshasa armor, I'd be jumping from eye level 340 to 380, around a 10% increase to my stats, plus all the extra defense that comes with it. So, of course, we want the highest eye level gear possible. With that big of a jump, it will barely matter what substats I get. It'll be such a big difference that I couldn't possibly turn it down. If only it was that easy. Since the Rakshasa gear was released in the post-patches of Stormblood, it requires materials that I have to spend poetic tomestones for. I have plenty of those, no problem there, except that the merchant that sells those materials isn't available until after I clear this quest. And our next best bet, Nightsteel, takes us from eye level 340 to 350. A couple hours of work for maybe a 1 to 2% upgrade. Nowhere near enough of a difference to beat Shinryu as we are. What I had originally thought would be limited gearing options were basically nothing. We were limited by the materials I had access to. Even Nightsteel would be difficult to get everything for. But then, I was reminded of something. The same path we took to take down Susanoo at the beginning of Stormblood. We could desynth items from vendors to get materials I otherwise couldn't access. The obvious option is taking the same path I did for Pictomancer, desynthing the vendor gear to make early Shadowbringers armor and weapons. But I had spent nearly 500,000 gil for just 5 accessories. To make a full set of armor, I'd likely need to spend double or triple that, and that's not even mentioning that the armor pieces themselves are much more expensive than the accessories were. Oh my god. 36k per attempt at the gear. Is there anything that this item uses that these do not have? Like, could I just use the cheaper one to craft them, maybe? Deep gold, stone gold, bright linen. Okay, stone gold I can get from the accessories. 6 runs of the vault per attempt. Yeah, when you put it that way, it really gives you some perspective. So that's at most 15 attempts worth of gil per day. But these are fine-ish, right? Like, they just need... I could just buy the cheapest one. They don't have anything that's exclusive. These exclusive items I can make currently with Stormblood gear. What about the pants? Oh, that one's gonna suck. That one is leatherworking, and I have not done leatherworking in a long time. I can just barely get to the crafts, but I'm not even sure my leatherworker is at the level to wear my Stormblood gear. It is not. It is one level below. So I'd have to level up Leatherworker, but at least it's only the one level. That's not too bad. The other option was to desynth within Stormblood. The last remaining hope was the crafting and gathering vendor. Trading in rarefied items, collectibles that can't be used and are only made for this, will get us crafting scripts, 45 each, so long as I max out the item's quality. And for 75 crafting scripts, I can buy pieces of the Hand King's crafting armor set. This was the best crafting gear in the expansion, or in other words, the crafting equivalent of Rakshasa gear. Even though the eye level is a bit low, this should, in theory, be made of the same materials we'd need for Rakshasa. Chigusa ingot, Evergleam ingots. That's what we're hoping for. I can try these two multiple times. This one costs 225 each, so I'm gonna need it to just give us a Chigusa ingot right now, please. Thank you. Night Steel. Ugh. So this is probably, yeah, that's on par. This is Night Steel level, it's not Rakshasa level. Did that, I don't really see a way for us to even get the Rakshasa options. I think my only choice is really just to... The only option left for our gear was the Shadowbringer set, though we had never really pushed the limits of what we could do. I gave Shinryu a cursory attempt, but never went further than 10% echo. I still hadn't even seen the last phase. Maybe we didn't need upgrades. Maybe, in this moment, I was enough. Maybe we could do this. For Paladin, we can't just heal from nothing like Warrior. I need to spend 2,000 mana to cast Clemency every time we want to heal. Our best chance of surviving is to be entirely focused on regaining mana, meaning for almost the entire time I did this fight, we'd be acting like a Gunbreaker, and only using the first 2 attacks in our 3-hit combo. Riot Blade, the second attack in the combo, regens 1,000 mana every time I use it, and the next attack is only for damage. 2,000 mana every 4 attacks is much safer than every 6, especially right now, with no buffs. Our only focus is surviving those 3 minutes. Damage doesn't matter. This time around, we get to see the other option for 100% concentrated Aether, Judgment Bolt. A lightning aspected attack. If you're in a puddle while this hits, you die. As soon as the second set of ads spawn, we've survived long enough. With the first 10% echo buff, it's time to push on to the final phase of the fight. And 10% was enough to survive until the ad phases enrage, though nowhere close to killing them all. Like with Bismarck, if we don't manage to kill all of the ads, the enrage does more damage. Most likely enough to kill us in 1 hit. As the cast begins, all the remaining dragons use double dive and dash out of the arena, knocking anyone in their path off the side along with them, and then Protostar hits. 14k, hey! That's very livable. I do not have to kill all of those even slightly, I just need to be full health. That's really nice. Okay. This was a shock. Protostar had only done 16,000 damage. We had enough health to live that. We really could do this. I just needed to be sure I was healed enough when it started. That's some terrible crit. 3 crits in a row? Critical, left wing hits you for 3,500. Critical, Shinryu takes 2,700. Critical, right wing hits you for 2,400. Critical, left wing hits you for 3,500. Dude! After just one more step, 20% echo, we face Protostar once again, this time prepared, and start the real battle against Shinryu. Very nice, I can even block a percent of it. Huge! A 5-second active time maneuver to break through our chains, we're flown upwards to the heavens and thrown into the true arena. Starting with a massive AoE, as Shinryu sets almost every inch of space ablaze, he lands, and we face the first new mechanic. Occasionally, Shinryu will slam his tail down onto the platform, cracking any square it lands on aside from the center. The tail can be attacked as it slides back off, but we're too weak to kill it for now. Another AoE, this one much more easily dodged, is a punch to the center of the arena. At 100% concentrated Aether, Shinryu adds in some new casts. Diamond Dust deals heavy damage and briefly freezes the arena. Moving during this freeze will cause you to slide a far distance in whatever direction you pressed. And during all this, the wings are back to casting their own attacks. If Shinryu's tail lands on an already cracked square, it will shatter, slowly destroying the arena piece by piece. To follow up on that, another concentrated Aether cast, Earth and Fury, targets one of the squares, damaging or destroying it just as the tail would. Then, our first attempt at the final phase ends with Akmor. Really good run. I should be able to kill Tail if I get to full 50%. Back now, with 30% echo, I save all of my burst damage to kill the Tail. dealing 155,000 damage to Shinryu on its death. That was 5.7% of his health, an amount I couldn't do in the time between tails, even with full burst. This was our main way of killing the boss. Everything else could just be about surviving, but we were only strong enough now to kill the tail if I had all of my strongest abilities ready. Otherwise, it slipped away just before dying. Another new concentrated Aether attack, Aerial Blast, the bane of casters. A windstorm spawns, continuously knocking you back short distances before finally bursting for a big knockback from the center of the arena. The small bursts were all so close together that we couldn't finish casting Clemency without arm's length to keep us in place. It would always be interrupted. If both of the squares the tail attacks are cracked, it will go straight through them, taking away yet another chance to damage the boss. Dying to Akmorn once again, the damage this time was higher with the same mitigations, meaning it was scaling up with our health. We need to use Hollowed Ground here, when I'm at my weakest, instead of the start of the fight. Targeted by the party stack Hypernova, just like Akmorn, the damage scales with our health, this time dealing 19,000 damage instead of 13. To survive, we'd have to be in a puddle, but unlike the first phase, puddles wouldn't always spawn, meaning at any point during this fight, we'll have to be ready to tank 20,000 damage. With all this new knowledge, there was one thing I was sure of. We needed that gear upgrade. If for nothing else, consistently being able to kill the tail without burst would make this fight exponentially easier. A quick treasure map for some extra cash nets us 100,000 gil, and it's time to spend all of my remaining funds. I need at least 12 deep gold. 12 of the helmets. Oh my god, that cost me 300. That cost me like 220k. Please tell me this is enough. That's the one thing that you could decently do that I could actually get myself. Come on, man! You can't do this to me! Okay. We turned 26k to 5k? Bright linen. Alright, that's one. I'm not even a high enough decent level for these materia to be appearing this often, dude. I'm supposed to have a reduced chance at this. And the last of the bright linen that we need. So bright linen is now a useless material. And another bright linen, thank you. I needed 12 deep gold nuggets. Out of 12 helmets, I got 1. Okay, yep, perfect, great. My body is a machine that turns 39,000 gil into nothing. We have all of those materials. It only cost us just about 800,000 gil. Wow. Oh my god. I probably want to make the accessories too, right? Oh, absolutely fantastic. And it only cost me quite literally, I think, 1,000,000 gil exactly. Okay, but that should be all of the materials I need to make the paladin set. You saved 300,000. Small price to pay? Is it a small price? What the heck are you? Where did I get this? This is the welcome mat from my house. Oh, that looks terrible. Yeah, I'm doing that. That looks horrific. I'm done. I'm leaving. I'm going home. Now I have to actually make the gear, which also means I need to get Leatherworker to 70. There's no way I'd be able to successfully craft a Shadowbringer's item using level 60 gear and make it high quality. It just wasn't happening. And if I fail to get any of these high quality, it's straight back to decenting with the 300,000 gil I have left. Handing over some custom deliveries to Zloe gets us the level and some extra crafting scripts to purchase my main tools with. Insufficient armory space. I could throw that one out. That's perfect. Great. Leatherworker is upgraded and ready to go. Right now, just gonna be hard focused on getting these crafts done. I'm gonna do the worst one first. The Smilodon Trousers of Fending is by far going to be the worst. Do I have the stuff to make dirt? I don't, but I could go get it. I'd rather go get this and make the materials high quality. One more time, Durium Sand and Silver Ore make a Durium Nugget, and just barely some high quality Smilodon Trousers of Fending. Then, with the materials we descent the The other day, we get a deep gold kite shield, helmet, cuirass, and gauntlets. Those were easy because of an ability called Trained Eye. If your crafter is 10 levels higher than whatever you're crafting, you can instantly make it high quality. My armorer just so happened to be level 81, but for the rest, we won't be so lucky. The shoes need a bit of extra materials, like killing mammoths for mammoth hide, persimmons for persimmon tannin, latex for rubber, and merid leather for our deep gold solarets, pine resin, garab beetles for rhino beetle carapace, and flutturinis for moss scales, make beetle glue to craft a deep gold analyst, and our armor and weapons are complete. Now for the accessories. Mithrite sand and mithril ore for mithrite nuggets gets us everything we need, and our hematite and Islewolf accessories are complete. Our gear is now as strong as it can be. There are no more improvements. Now meld it. You know what? That doesn't sound like a bad idea. We're currently level syncing Shinryu, which means there's a chance our gear will sink down to the instance's cap. If that happens, melds don't actually do anything. But there's only one way to test it out, and sure enough, it works. So it's time for a bit more work. Blusters can be traded into Rowena vendors in major cities for materia, but we don't have any left. Thankfully, just like before, we can head over to Chloe and trade in our bronze certificates for, wait. They removed my materia. I can't spend my bronzes on the 6s anymore. It's gone. We had previously gotten Materia 6 from Chloe for my Pictomancer Susano attempts. These were essential to the luck-based fight, but now the lowest materia we could get from Chloe was Materia 9, which can only be used on armor and weapons above an eye level of 560, which means the only materia we can source from Chloe wasn't usable until the end of Endwalker. We could still get some materia, it was just much more expensive. Oh man. No, yeah, you're right. That's a little bit more expensive than I thought you were talking about. Okay. 1100 poetics gone, we slot in as many materia as we can, and now we're as strong as we can be. So, we rest, preparing for the big day that was to come. February 23rd, 2025, 2 years since the day Solo took his first step into Eorzea. Shinryu falls today, no matter what it takes. Yes, dude! Okay! 4.0 is cleared. Stormblood is beaten. Oh man. 2 years ago I made this silly little guy, and now on his second birthday, we are past the halfway point. Post Stormblood, Shadowbringers, and Endwalker are all that's left. I am going to get the heck over and turn in this quest. And to break out into song, I guess. Oh, come ye wayward brothers, bereft of hearth and home. Beneath yon burning star there lies a haven for the bold. Raise up your hands and voices, let fill your hearts with pride. Above the churning waters we stand strong and unified. 2 years since this all started. Stormblood's main patch is complete. We're slowly approaching the final stretch. From here, there's the post-Stormblood patches, and then just 2 expansions left. In this moment, I was on top of the world. Nothing could stop us. Everything from here would be quick and easy and on to Shadowbringers. If only I knew what I was up against.